It's three-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl champion Keyshawn Johnson. I want to introduce you to my new show, All Facts, No Breaks. I'll be giving you the real reactions to the latest sports news and inviting guests in the sports and entertainment world to break it all down. Tune in and make sure you listen and subscribe on Spotify.
Hi, it's Dave here, and I'm with my wife, Cathy.
Hello.
And we're with our son, Oscar.
Oscar's trying to grab the mic.
Playing with the mic.
He's never been so up close and personal with the podcast before. And we are speaking to you live from the Eurostar in a very special, exciting, I'm moving away from Oscar, thrilling episode of the cinema, bonus episode, because we love our fans so much, but mainly because we wanted to rewatch Mission Impossible 1. And it's only about right we'd record the review on the Eurostar.
It was either this or recording it inside CIA headquarters in Langley.
And this was harder to get, actually.
Prague.
Really difficult to get tickets for this.
Yeah. So many people want to review Mission Impossible on the Eurostar.
With a squirming child. Right, okay, so...
Okay, we can't really talk right now because he's literally pulling the...
Okay.
So we'll talk soon. Going to talk Mission Impossible.
Simple game. Is he serious?
Always.
It's much worse than you think.
We're being ambushed. Abort, that's an order. They knew we were coming. Do you read me?
I don't care how he did it. I want to know why he did it. You're worried about me. Why you survived.
I'm sure we can find something I have that you need.
No one sent me.
These guys are trained to be ghosts. Let's not waste time chasing after him. Just make him come to us. Find something that's personally important to him and you squeeze.
We're back. We're not on the Eurostar anymore. Our gimmick is over. Turns out the Eurostar is really quick when you're going from London to Lille.
We're still on a train.
Yeah, we're on a different train. Internal
we're on the
French. TGV. And so we're doing just the world's most awkward podcast, basically, for this trip specifically. After going through loads of airport trips with our big buggy and it being a complete nightmare, we got this awesome buggy that basically folds up into like a shoulder bag that you can put in.
This new Up a Baby travel thing. It's
Up
really
a Baby
good.
menu, if anyone's interested. And you basically wear it as a shoulder bag and you can put it above you on a train or plane. So we were like, yes, we'll have the buggy above us. We'll be sitting. Oscar will be napping quietly on our laps. It's not happening. He'll only sleep in the buggy. So we're kind of in the carriageway of a French train that's really narrow. So anyway, excuse us if you hear us moving around a bit. So we're here to review Mission Impossible 1. And this is a really interesting movie for loads of reasons. A, because it's awesome. We obviously love it. It's the start of the franchise. But I've been doing some research on the production, Dave. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
So
This is so formal.
do you know how it came about and whose idea
Someone's
was
coming there.
to make this movie?
Sorry, we're standing in a corridor, so we're going to have to occasionally move to allow people
that's our
to get on
explanation.
it. This is so
This is
pointless.
so weird.
What
We
am I
look like
doing?
freaks. So do you know who came up with the idea for this movie? Who produced it and all that?
The idea? Well, it was a TV show. It was Mission
what's
Impossible.
interesting is basically
That was the
in the
idea.
early 90s, Tom Cruise was launching his own production company.
Yeah.
And I think it's called Cruise Wagner, and he wanted like a hit, because up until then, if you think about it,
He wanted a hit, did he?
Tom Cruise wasn't actually an action star. Tom Cruise was a serious actor.
Yeah,
You know,
he was
Oscar-nominated.
he was a real courtroom drama guy, wasn't he?
Well,
Born
he
on
was
the
also
4th
born
of
on
July.
the 4th of July. He was in a lot
Few
of
Good
like
Men.
Rain Man, A Few Good Men, and A Few Good Men might have been after this.
Rain
though.
Man.
Rain Man.
Rain Man was the sequel.
And he actually turned down, speaking of sequels, he turned down the sequel to Top Gun because he wasn't interested in that sort of thing. And what he
But now he is, because they're doing that.
Well, I'm on the explanation here. So, but he knew he needed a hit for this new production company, right? Something really bankable. So he was looking around him and saw the success of other action movies, but he figured he's not the macho guy. Like, you know, what would have been huge at that time was like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. So he actually pitched the idea of Mission Impossible. So like it's a really cool plot based on a TV show, but not all macho. You know, it's got the gadgetry and things. And it was his idea apparently to create the original. The original character was
Ethan Hunt.
No, Jim Phelps.
Okay, Jim Phelps was in the original TV show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jim Phelps was the original protagonist. So it was Tom Cruise's idea to...
Spoiler alert. Make him the
change,
baddie.
make him
Which is a
Jim Phelps
great
the baddie.
move.
It's a great move. And apparently one of the original cast members got up and left the cinema in complete anger when they saw that.
We talked about that. So if anyone's interested, I've plugged this already, but I had a really fun chat with the two hosts of Torn Stubs, the Torn Stubs podcast, about all 5 Mission Impossible movies, and we did cover that. But
It's just so interesting.
It's worth a listen.
And
Oh, and also, sorry, we should just say, we've also seen Mission Impossible Fallout. Go listen to our review of that if you haven't already.
Funnily, we watched this before Fallout, but we're recording the review after anyway. Thus is our life.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And and Tom Cruise bought the movie in because he produced it under budget and before it was due to be finished.
So
That's
he
how
wanted to
professional
be
he
an
is.
action hero. Is that what you're saying?
No, he wanted to create a huge hit for his movie studio.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and he very much succeeded. And so Fallout, which we have seen already, is now his second most successful movie after War of the Worlds. Like, it's huge.
Really?
It's phenomenally successful, yeah.
Do you know, it deserves it. And do you know what? It's funny that you
And they
said...
get more critically acclaimed with every movie, which is very unusual.
It's funny that you said about him not being your typical action hero in the mid-90s. And certainly nobody would have thought of him as that at the beginning. But now I'm like, I'm hard-pressed to think of a better action hero. I think John Wick... Keanu Reeves is kind of close, but Keanu Reeves is missing the charisma. That the movie's doing a lot of the legwork there.
Yeah, and John Wick's more like bullets over brains, whereas this movie's like really, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of action, and as we discussed in our Fallout review, he's not a typical looking action guy either. But anyway, we need to get into the review of this movie. So we watched this last week, and we had so much fun watching it.
It's so different to the other ones, isn't it?
Yeah, watching it and then going straight into the 6th one. I mean,
it's not really an action movie.
It's not, like, visually as well, like, opening scene, it's like, this is so 90s, right? Like, it's just of a time and place, which I really enjoy.
But it kind of has a 70s vibe thanks to Brian De Palma, I think.
Yeah, it does have a bit of 70s vibe.
It doesn't, like, it had... The only thing that dates it is the 90s technology.
And the fashion.
And a bit of the fashion, yeah. Like, the rest of it, the way it's shot, the way it looks, it's all like... noir 70s vibes for sure. It's
really classy, like it's a classy movie, and like straight in, right, one of my favorite things is that like straight into the it's kind of an opening scene of intrigue, and then it's just Tom Cruise at a point in this movie. It's just Tom Cruise in disguise. That's what the masks were, whereas now the masks are just a different actor.
Well, hang on, it's funny though, because at the end of this movie he's wearing a Jim Phelps mask, so they have the mask technology.
At the end, he does he does John Boyd.
So it's not that they only have the technology for fake mustaches and rubber noses, because they don't. He does a full Jim Phelps mask at the end, and he and in the TV show they were wearing full masks.
Yeah,
like you just looked like a different person, like totally inconceivable.
It was probably just Tom Cruise having more fun playing different characters than the mask technology not being.
Well, that's
there.
it. What you're alluding to is the fact that Tom Cruise is first of all playing an older version of Tom Cruise, who's just someone who looks like him. Then cut to the main sort of heist at the party in Prague, and they're giving Tom Ethan his mission, and he's like, "You'll be playing this senator who we see on the background. This American senator who's showing up to the party." It just coincidentally happens to just be Tom Cruise.
Just Tom Cruise, yeah,
with prosthetics on.
But we're probably getting ahead of ourselves. We kind of need to backtrack a bit and chat about.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. This is the very beginning of the movie.
It's the very beginning of the movie. But what's so fun about this movie at the start is what I really like about it is that actually, for a while, Jim Phelps is the star. Like, he's the boss. And Tom Cruise is very much a part of a team, and they're getting their orders from John Voight, aka Jim Phelps, and they are like slagging him off because he gets to stay in a fancy hotel while they're all slumming it. Like, it feels like, because obviously most movies you see with Tom Cruise now, it's immediately that Tom Cruise is the star and he's the boss. So it's fun
he's
to
the
look
manifestation
back.
of destiny, as Alec Baldwin said. He's a very different Ethan Hunt now, for sure. Like, he's more of a boy than a man. He's not a leader.
Yeah,
really.
It's a good origin story.
He's
really.
Having fun with it.
Yeah.
He's like I forgot
kind of
about
fancies
this.
the boss's wife.
He jokes around. Well, actually, funnily enough, on that feels like a totally dropped subplot. The relationship with him and Jim Phelps' wife,
who disgustingly is about 30 years younger than him.
Than Jim Phelps. John Voight. But there's a flirtation there. There's chemistry for sure. But and there's a sort of an implied sex scene. But the trailer had an actual sex scene that was cut for whatever reason. I don't know.
So the trailer had a sex scene of them.
Yeah, I remember this vividly. Like,
because you were a teenage boy at the time.
Well, whatever.
Like, you remember a sex scene from a trailer vividly, right? That's
well, it wasn't full on. There was just like passionate kissing.
Okay.
Is what? But
and
like
you were into it.
The mad kind of kissing where you just they're pushing each other up against walls and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Right? So that's in the trailer, and it's worth having a look at the trailer, which also finishes with that great line from Kittinger or whatever the IMF guy is called, which was, "You find something that he loves and you squeeze."
Oh, you squeeze. He was amazing.
He's outstanding.
So I know him actually as the dad from Revenge, which was a show I really enjoyed, like first couple of seasons of, and then went downhill as most shows do. But he's amazing in this. He's such a cool actor. And then kind of the overall plot, I think it's a really good one. Like, it's quite shocking. And again, this is a fully spoiler bonus episode, right? Spoilers for everything. I love that at the start Ethan has this lovely team unit, and they even kind of have this father figure in John Voight, which is strange because he's married to one of the team, because they're all much younger than him. And then they go on like straight into the mission, which is a really fun one, in the embassy, and you've got the mass, and you've got Emilio Estevez, who I'd forgotten was in this movie. You know, he's the kind of techie guy, so he's the equivalent of Benji now, and you know they've got every classic element of a Mission Impossible movie that you'd want, all in this scene, and it's so fun. And then it just all unravels really quickly, and you really feel from Ethan's point of view like the sheer panic, because obviously the more Mission Impossible movies you watch, the more you realise that pretty much he goes rogue in every movie from the IMF. Well, but in this one, it feels really shocking that that's happening to him.
He goes rogue, or they're hunting him.
They're hunting him,
because he's been framed. Like, why is he still working for this organization?
Yeah, why? And it's so elaborate. So basically, because they think there's a mole, which we learn there is, because they think there's a mole, they bring in another team, and they work to entirely flush out this team. Like, it seems like a really expensive mole hunt. They make everyone's murdered.
Was a mole.
Yeah, like, is it worth losing all these good agents just to flush it out? Like, surely you should have just done some interrogation back in the States instead of blowing up this whole thing.
Which is your favourite moment when Tom Cruise shouts, "They're all dead"? Because he does it several times.
I liked when he did it in the phone box.
He does it immediately in the phone box. They're dead! They're all dead!
Actually, that's in my notes. I've just written that. My team is dead in capital letters.
I felt like this was... I mean, I really like Tom Cruise as an actor, first of all, and as an action hero. But he definitely was sort of jumping every bit of the scenery in the phone box. And then later...
Remember, this is back when he was like, "I'm an actor."
But it was like, it's
now
too
he's
much.
Like, "I'm an actor."
It's veering on Al Pacino shouting. And then later when...
Maybe that's because they were harking back to the 70s in every way.
Maybe. Then the woman shows up and he shouts it at her as well. "They're all dead!"
And he's watching...
I'm shouting!
He's watching John Voight die through these like techie glasses, which I just really enjoyed, all that stuff, and him running to the bridge, because obviously Tom Cruise running is a complete staple of these movies. Like, that whole mission falling out was awesome. I really enjoyed all of that.
The gadgets are great. The chewing gum, the red light, green light, and the great line from Emilio Estevez: "Hasta lasagna, don't get any anya."
Oh, we should move again. We look so weird to all these French people on this train. Yeah, there's just so much of it is so 90s and naff, and like, I mean, they've come a long way from this. But then it's basically then Tom Cruise trying to prove his innocence, right, to the IMF, because they've decided he's the mole, and he has that amazing scene where he meets with the head of the IMF, aka the dad from Revenge, and they're in the restaurant together. And this is like one of the big scenes from this movie, right? And they're in the restaurant, and Tom Cruise clocks all the people around him, just as a waiter, 2 o'clock, and he identifies everyone who was at the party who's now in this restaurant who's watching him.
It's a classic Jason Bourne moment.
Yeah, it was really
good. Very, very good. It's always enjoyable.
And then we had, you know, the earlier setup of when he was given by Emilio Estevez, rest his soul, who'd had a terrible death.
Yeah, it was
like really disgusting
graphic
death. And he gets the chewing gum, and he throws it at the aquarium thing, because it's like the nightclub's called Aquarium. But it's just this really shit restaurant. And then the whole aquarium explodes, and it has way more water than it should have.
Yeah, it's like one fish tank, and then like the Atlantic Ocean comes out of it.
It's insane. And he kind of jumps out of the water with it, and he goes through the glass, and he escapes. But then he escapes to the hideaway, and this is what I don't understand, because they have an apartment, right? can't remember what city they're in at this point.
Prague.
They've got an apartment in Prague that no one knows where it is. Like, the IMF don't go back and find him there.
Yeah, why would he go to the one place where they could probably know where he is?
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're getting a bit nippy.
Yeah, and then it becomes really fun because we get to basically Tom Cruise figuring out all the Job stuff. You know, the clues and the Bible and all the emails he starts sending.
That's proper spy stuff.
Yeah, proper spy stuff.
Except
I really enjoy
that's
that.
not how emails work.
No.
I think he was using a Usenet forum or something.
He was using some sort of forum. I was so 90s. I just remembered how much I used to love forums.
It was a Usenet group, which
Yeah.
I mean, I think
A Bible group.
Maybe some of our older listeners will know what that was, but I'm a little young for that. The interesting thing is that this movie has been around for 22 years. This franchise has been around for 22 years.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Yeah.
Like that's absolutely mental.
But this
when
is
you
some
see
of the
how the
most-
technology's progressed.
There's more spy stuff in this movie than in the newest, for sure. The newest isn't all that research and like back and forth of like tedious work, which is mainly what spy work would be actually, like a lot of admin. Like he's really
You
he's
like
going
the
on,
admin, do you?
He's
You
going
like
on
the spy
every
admin.
Bible forum on the internet and writing the same message over and over again, which I still
yeah.
don't understand what he was doing or why he was emailing.
He wrote it
anyone.
in every single language.
Yeah, it was so weird, and like I've seen this movie loads of times now, and I just still couldn't follow it, but I also didn't care.
Actually, on that point, okay, so I would like to bring up that you say you've seen this movie loads of times, but you seem to have a goldfish memory when it comes to any movie, because watching you watch this movie,
Yeah, I couldn't remember any of
was
it.
like watching someone experience it for the first time. But not only that, because you were so convinced that you knew the answer at every step of the way, even though it was locked in your memory. But every time something happened, you would go, oh, I actually wrote down some of them. Okay, so here's some of Cathy's like exclamations throughout the movie. Firstly, anytime anyone new came on screen, she would turn to me and go, "Oh yeah, he's the baddie."
I knew that his team,
I remember now.
I knew somebody in his
He's
team
the
was the
baddie.
baddie, but I just couldn't quite remember who it was.
And then anytime, when Kittinger came on screen, you said, "Oh no, I remember now. He's the baddie."
Who's he? The dad from her friend?
Yeah, and then then you said when he was when he's doing all the emails and he's looking for Max, and Max's identity is a bit of a mystery. You went, oh, no, I remember now. I know who Max is. It's the hot wife. Max is the hot wife. But then 5 minutes after that, no, I remember now. It's Kristen Scott Thomas is Max. She wasn't really stabbed. She's just
So
pretending.
basically, while I'm making notes of the movie, you're just making notes of me.
I just wrote down everything you said. It was brilliant.
Every time someone rips a mask off in this franchise, in every movie, I'm in complete shock. Like, I never see it coming. I don't know why. Like, I should expect it by now. I just never see it coming. I love it though. Every time I watch one of these movies, I'm just so happy. But like this one is more spy-ish and more fun because like he's really been betrayed at this point in this movie. It's probably the worst betrayal of somebody to do something to him, and like so many of his friends die. So there's really high stakes in this movie. Personal stakes, which you were talking about in the later movies, that you feel like maybe the personal stakes aren't as high. And you know, he really needs to clear his own name. And then, because the IMF are hunting him down, this is the bit that made me laugh out loud. So apparently his mother and uncle live on a farm somewhere in the States. And in France, on French TV, is it France or was it Prague? Somewhere in Europe, they have on the news, or was it in London, that a
You
woman...
can't even remember the movie.
I can't remember the location.
You
There's too
just
many
watched it.
locations.
You've already forgotten your goldfish
It's
memories
because
kicked
we've
in.
just watched the other one as well, and they're all kind of in the same location.
Sky News.
Yes, Sky News are talking about a woman in, like, say, Iowa, for example, I don't know where he's from, who was, like, I don't know, doing something on her farm.
Arrested for marijuana.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but that would not make international news. Like,
No.
that would barely make local state news in the States, right? So
Certainly
that
not
made
in
me
today's
laugh.
age.
I really enjoy that. And I thought, wow, the IMF are going to really dodgy lengths here at this point.
Come on,
They're not very honourable.
Let's move on because it's so bloody hot in
It is so hot, there's no aircon in the corridor.
Go this way or the...
16.
Well, oh, sorry.
Oh, this is okay.
No, it's okay.
No, it's only 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Do you want to go here?
I'll go probably that way.
Okay. We need to get to the Eurostar bit, which is the whole point of us doing this review,
No, you can't
right?
skip over the Langley bit.
All right, go to Langley.
The best, one of the best heists in cinema history.
Oh yeah!
Tom
oh my
Cruise
god!
hanging from a-
I really didn't mean to skip over that. That is the best, and it's so tense no matter how many times you see it.
It's fun. The
It's
setup is
fun.
fun. You got
And
the
that's-
team working together.
Where you've got all the tension and obviously intensely high action stakes in the new one. You don't have a scene like that, which is just the whole setup. How they get in, they're dressed as the firefighters. They all get through the setup with where the French woman is like putting the eye drops in the guy's coffee. You've got everything going for it.
Sorry.
Then you've got it's that really lovely style they do Mission Impossible, where they kind of talk you through how they're going to do it, like almost while they're doing it.
Actually, that's another thing.
What?
You said when she squirts the thing in his coffee, you go, "Oh, I remember this now. They give him laxatives." And then when my other favorite thing you said
clever.
was, "Well, yeah, I figured it out now. They give him laxatives." And then the other thing you said when they were explaining all the scans that the analyst has to go through, it's like and he's got to go a voice retinal scan, and he's got to get an eye scan,
code.
and then he does a password, and then he meets a receptionist. You thought it was hilarious to exclaim, "They should give him a rectal scan." And you think it's funny even now?
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah.
Well, because like really no one could fake that for you.
No one could fake a rectum. Is that what you're saying?
It would be unlikely that someone would be able to get through that one for him.
You say that's the pinnacle of security for you, is someone's rectum.
It would be
Untraceable, unfakeable.
I can't believe you brought that up that I said that. It's so embarrassing.
Maybe in the new Mission Impossible, instead of wearing masks, they'll have cracked
Steve,
rectum
stop
problem.
it.
And they'll have
that's disgusting.
fake
Okay,
rectum.
stop. Just because we're outside a toilet in a French corridor.
You're the one who brought
You're
this
the one
up.
bringing it up. So yeah, I think we should talk through that scene. Everyone knows the iconic image of Tom Cruise like hanging from the ceiling on the rope, but I'd forgotten all the kind of minute details of it. So the French guy up in the up in the
Reno's
rafters,
up in a
Jean
rafter,
Reno,
holding
classic
the
baddie,
rope.
holding the
Why
rope.
is he holding the rope? Couldn't they just have attached it to something?
Yeah, I was wondering
like
that,
a
but they
winch?
needed someone to pull it. I think, like to pull it back up again.
It's just like automated.
And that whole
that
scene
technology
is so
exists.
good.
Window cleaners use it.
Yeah, true. Like he's hanging down. He's like copying all the data. Meanwhile, we're continually cutting back to the guy who's kind of in and out of the bathroom, vomiting. Like, it's such low stakes, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. Like, will I bring the waste paper basket in to vomit? Will I go back to the toilet again?
It's just an excellent, superb action scene, and it's that the suspense is done very well, because they've shown us where all the players are. We know that all the systems he has to go through, except a rectal scan, to get into the thing. So we know how close he is. There's also the added element of the beads of sweat that will trigger the alarm if they hit the floor.
Yeah.
If you're slightly too loud, it's going to trigger the alarm.
Yeah, so they're all whispering.
So
Ving Rhames has, of course, been recruited at this point and is there on the laptop, which I love that he became such a staple of this franchise.
It's funny that only he remained, actually, from the beginning.
Well, the rest of them were all killed, right?
Or baddies.
Yeah. So, so this whole scene is just like, I think you could just watch this scene in isolation at any point and just really enjoy it, because it's so self-contained and it is all set up within the scene, which is really unusual. Like, you don't need to know anything outside of it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great heist. The knife dropping at the end.
Oh my god, it lands on the table right as
such a
they
good
get
thing.
up. And what about when the guy comes in and Ethan's just on the ceiling, just hanging there?
Just
Which
above
actually,
him.
now that I think about it, later on, Spider-Man kind of copied. Remember that?
I can't say that Spider-Man copied hanging from a ceiling. Like, Spider-Man invented that.
Now that I think about it, no, that there was a scene in one of the first Spider-Man movies, you'd know better than me, where Tobey Maguire's just like hanging on a ceiling when James Franco's walking around his house looking for him. Do you remember that?
You really don't remember any movies you've already seen.
Okay. Fine, ignore that. So that whole scene is amazing, and then right at the end they all just get to walk out of the building again dressed as the firefighters. It's just so satisfying.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's
brilliant.
just like there's a real satisfaction that comes with watching a completed heist.
Yeah.
And
what's so cool about it is, if you think about that would have been very cheap to film. Like, as much as I enjoy, and I really, really, really enjoy all the stunts in the new movie. I mean, I gushed about them in our review, but this was just as enjoyable and was probably shot in a room over a couple of days with like a few people.
Well, the scope and the scale of it is so different to what we've been getting in the last few movies.
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise literally hanging off the side of a building,
Breaking his
on a
ankle.
helicopter. Like,
And this is why he obviously brought it in under time and under budget. Like, it's a very smart move to be doing this kind of action, especially in that era of all the big budget, True Lies and all those kind of movies that would have been out
It's
around
only
then.
really one location with a few peripherals.
Yeah.
Like, it's smart, it's efficient.
Sorry, do you want to go there? Okay, mercy. So awkward getting thrown off her
Go on,
train.
let's talk about the Eurostar.
Are we going to talk about the Eurostar? So right, we were just on the Eurostar.
That's the whole point of doing this.
The whole point of doing this.
We're
Can
now
I
on a
mention-
TGV in a sweaty corridor.
Sweaty corridor, it's
absolutely
disgusting.
dying.
Dave's rocking a buggy.
It's 35
degrees. So my favourite part about this, right, is actually the first time I ever got a Eurostar. Weirdly, it was around the time the last Mission Impossible came out. So we rewatched them all last time as well. Rogue Nation. So whenever a new one comes out, we go back and rewatch them all.
Whenever any of them come out, we get on the Eurostar instantly.
And I had never been on the Eurostar before, and neither had my mom, right? And she was visiting us, and we all watched the first Mission Impossible. And then the next day, Mom and I were getting on the Eurostar to go visit my sister in France. And Mom and I were so excited because the Eurostar is so gorgeous in this movie, right? The Eurostar is so classy.
Pretty sure they were in first class.
Everyone has their own little tables. Next day, me and Mom got on the Eurostar, we're like, oh, right, this is not at all what it looks like. It's just like a normal train. And then today, Dave and I, we're not sponsored by Eurostar. We've observed the same phenomenon. I really don't think that the Eurostar that we've experienced is the same as the Eurostar that Ethan Hunt experienced in this movie. And I just love all the stuff set in the Eurostar. So like Vanessa Redgrave, who we haven't mentioned, as Max. She's fantastic. She's so enjoyable, yeah. Like she's just really relishing the role and just having fun with it.
She's
so
just
good.
like, I love her like sort of flirtatious nature.
I wanted them to get together, never mind him and the John Voight's wife. And I just love all the setup where they've actually genuinely stole her the necklace, which I did think a lot. I don't know that they really needed to give her the necklace. Like, if I was the IMF, I would not be praising Ethan at the end for genuinely stealing a necklace and giving it.
It had to be authentic.
Yeah, but it's just at that point they already had her on the train. Like, it didn't really need to be authentic. Like, they had her. It was fine. I know he was trying to jaw out the mold.
Yeah, but she was only going to give them Joe once she had verified the knock.
I know. It's just I felt like they could have been a bit smarter about it. And then I love all the stuff where Ving Rhames is sitting opposite her and he's got like the phone aimed at her to block the signal. Yeah. And then he goes to the bathroom and someone follows him with his phone. Like, Monsieur, you forgot your phone. He's like, oh great, thanks a lot. And then it just becomes a complete. This is when it's most similar to the new movies, like the actual end, like huge set piece. It's just so good.
It's great. The effects are.
Effects are
pretty
good. They
in
hold
this.
up.
I must say, the green screen on top of the train. I presume it's a green screen that they did on top of the train.
No, I think they really filmed a helicopter in the tunnel with the Eurostar.
No,
with the GoPro.
Really impressive when Tom Cruise and John Voight first go to the roof of the train. It's kind of seamless green screen.
It's amazing.
It's better.
I'd say they did it in some sort of wind
nowadays.
tunnel, and then they have that behind them. Like, they would have done as much real as they could have.
It's very convincing.
It looks really good.
There's only one moment where you can see a toy helicopter.
The toy helicopter. But before that, I really enjoyed the scene in the luggage carriage where John Voight. Again, I was completely shocked by this, where Tom Cruise is dressed as John Voight and he manages to get the wife to admit that she's in on it, and he's just so sad because obviously we're to infer that he loves her, albeit we've not really seen it. And
so interestingly, this must be before they've invented the voice replication technology, because
he's completely silent.
Yeah,
he's completely silent and he doesn't pull anything off his throat.
Yeah.
And then he finds out she was in on it, and then John Voight comes in and basically just shoots his own wife.
Yeah, he
which we both thought was
deliberately
weird.
shoots her. I don't understand that.
I think it's because he kind of guessed that she was into Ethan, maybe, so he just callously shot her.
Can somebody...
Why would you... Or because he thought he was going to escape and he didn't want her to give away his secrets.
Can somebody please explain to us why John Voight shoots his wife at the very end?
Yeah, it's very strange. And then becomes the tunnel scene, which is just so fun. Like, they're both climbing. Like, first of all, again, I was saying to Dave, to what end at this point, right? And this is always the case with Ethan. John Voight's on the roof of a train, climbing towards a helicopter that John Reno is driving, so we find out he's a baddie as well. And then John Voight's trying to climb and get him, and Ethan just will never give up. He's like a dog with the bone. Like, Ethan's climbing after him, doing anything to stop him getting on this helicopter. Like, Ethan,
but it's
why?
Personal.
It's personal, but also get off the roof of the train and like look after yourself. You've proven he's the guilty one. You can go back to the IMF with your head held high because you've recorded it all. The boss has seen it on his little watch screen or whatever.
Come here, that's not the Ethan Hunt style.
No, that's not Ethan Hunt style.
And if it would be, there'd be no point in watching these movies.
And this whole scene is just so intensely enjoyable. And it's just so fun the way that he manages to get the helicopter to come into the tunnel, which at that point I think this is just so dangerous, and Ethan shouldn't be allowed to rejoin the IMF, because you could have killed the entire Eurostar full of people by dragging a helicopter in after them through a tunnel.
You're
like,
right.
Right now I'd be really pissed off if you dragged a helicopter.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. It's ridiculous.
But it does have one of the few Ethan Hunt one-liners, because Tom Cruise isn't really a one-liner kind of guy. But he's on the helicopter, he pulls out the chewing gum and he yells, "Red light, green light," and jumps off. It's superb. It's funny because when he tries one-liners later on, they don't really work. There's a terrible one in Mission Impossible 3 where he scales a wall in the Vatican and then rolls over and turns to camera and says, "Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall."
Oh god, that's terrible. Like, why are you referencing a child's nursery rhyme in that? And it's just so fun. And then kind of it all ends, of course, with the helicopter blade 2 millimeters from his jugular.
Another quite iconic shot.
That image is awesome.
Really iconic images.
It's just funny because I was thinking as I was watching this, obviously it's fake, right, the train stuff, but I thought if Tom Cruise was making this now, you know he'd be actually doing that on the train, because that's the thing now. Like, Tom Cruise has to really do the stuff or people will lose interest, to the point where I had a really dark thought after the last movie where I thought, at some point we're going to see Tom Cruise die in one of these movies and they're going to release it anyway, because it's getting more and more out of control, isn't it, the stunts? Like, he would be fully expected, like right now he would be expected to be on the top of our train.
He could very well die. Yeah.
Like, it's really lethal stuff that he's
really
doing.
Dangerous.
And that's what adds to the whole thrill of it all.
Would they release? I guess they would. I mean, Paul Walker died and they released it.
He didn't die.
He died during it,
didn't
he?
die on the set, though.
Oh, was it before?
He didn't die on the set. He
It's
died halfway through the
before,
movie.
though. I'm thinking Oliver Reed on the set of Gladiator. Actors have died during
But not
Crow,
during his...
Brandon Lee.
Oh yeah, but if Tom Cruise died falling off a train, they'd leave that cut in as well.
They'd still release
They would, yeah.
Yeah, they'd use that take.
They'd use that take.
Yeah.
Like, they used the take of him breaking his ankle, didn't they, in the most recent movie?
I don't know.
I think they did.
Did they?
Yeah, just because why not, like.
let's
And then
wrap
this up, we're dying.
Please go back to
but thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed our bonus episode. We just need to mention one more thing. I think Ethan should actually at this point have been kicked out of the IMF anyway, because it's outrageous.
No, he should leave the IMF.
And why is Ving Rhames reinstated, right? If Ving Rhames was disavowed, then stole from them, why is he back? Why is he allowed to work for them anymore?
Because he helped them capture the knock list back. And also when he saw that it was the knock list that they were stealing, he wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah, but he still did it.
Because he's a man of honour, Cathy.
From the IMF's point of view, grand, you weren't comfortable with it.
No, but
anyway.
he only found out that's what he was doing after they'd stolen it, was happening.
Yeah, but that's like robbing a bank and saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that I was actually stealing
also,
gold bars. I thought I was just stealing notes."
Cathy, they pay service to this because Tom Cruise says to him at one point when he gives him the real knock list after his lame little magic.
Oh, I love the magic
trip.
trip. That was so fun.
And he gives Luther the real one, and he says, "You're the only one I can trust because I know that if you knew what we were going after, you wouldn't have done it."
Yeah, but my point is that's all fine, and we can attest to his character. But from the IMF's perspective,
look, what's your beef with Luther?
No,
right?
I have no
Let him
beef.
have a
I
job.
love him. I love that he's in every movie. I think he's amazing.
You're better having him on your team than not on your
I mean,
team.
I want him on my team, that's for sure. But thanks for listening to this bonus episode, and we'll try and do more. Please go on and subscribe to us on iTunes if you haven't done already. Leave us a nice review, and don't forget we're on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and we'll do some sort of fun shenanigans on Instagram stories for this episode.
And go watch Mission Impossible Fallout if you haven't already, because it's brilliant.
Yeah, do what I did. Watch the first one, then the sixth one. Don't quite bother doing what David did, which is going to watch all of them.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, but if you want to, go and listen to his review on Torn Stub.
Okay, we are right in
Okay.
it. No, watch all the movies. Okay, bye.
They're dead.
Wait, who's dead?
My team! My team is dead!
Who said